good to be at Community Board 1. I think last time I was here we were talking about the $50 million for the pool, which is going along greatly, by the way. So I've been around for 26 years in parks. I want to just clear up a little bit of the mystery about tennis bubbles, and then we'll talk about the request for proposal. What we do is the tennis during the off-season, as he mentioned, mid-October to April, where appropriate. To extend the season and to make it playable, we'll issue out a concession or an RFP, request for proposal, for a company to come in, for a business to come in, open up the tennis courts and run it. We have them all over the city. Evan has a couple of pictures of what they look like. In Brooklyn, we have two examples. One's on Bay Parkway and Shore Road. The other is at the parade ground near Prospect Park. Typically, we issue an RFP for a place that has 10 or 12 courts because the business model for a concessionaire to come in and make money and make it successful, they usually need more courts to do it. So we had never looked at McCarran Park in the past because it only has 6 courts. So we never issued a request for proposal before. We had a couple of calls and letters expressing interest in it. So informally we talked to the community board, said, what do you think? They said, well, put a proposal together. We'll hear it before the Parks Committee. I think, Evan, you came last month to the Parks Committee and presented just what a request for proposal is to that. And rightfully so, the community board wanted to make sure everybody was informed and understood what the process is, so they asked us to come down tonight and speak about that. So basically how that goes, we issue out in the papers if we decide to go this way, and if we don't have the support to go that way, we won't. So just know that. We're not doing this unilaterally. We always work closely with the Community Board 1 as we do with the rest of the board. So a request for proposal goes out for businesses interested in running the concession during the indoor season, during the off-tennis season. They come in, they put a proposal together. It offers fees, which is typically a percentage of gross receipts, to the city on a sliding scale, meaning in the earlier years they pay less, in the later years they pay more, and that money goes into the general fund of the City of New York. It doesn't come back to parks. I don't get to cut checks to let's repair this bench, let's repair that path. It goes to the City of New York. Like I said, we have 2 such concessions in Brooklyn, but we have several all over the city. Whoever has the best package gets awarded that contract. The reason it's a 15-year thing is because to invest in buying the bubble or renting the bubble and the equipment it takes to operate the bubble, it takes that kind of time in a business model to amortize that kind of cost. So that's why we do a 15-year term. Evan, do you have anything to add to that? Does that sort of sum the whole thing up? So we have a couple of pictures there up in the front to show you what a tennis bubble looks like. We've looked at McCarran Park to make sure that it's not going to damage any of the trees or anything like that. We looked at the footprint. It is definitely feasible. Whether it's cost feasible or not, that remains to be seen by, but there's apparently at least 2 operators interested in doing it. I know that I've been here for a long time, coming to Community Board 1 meetings. I know people have been talking about why don't we like the courts and why don't we have more playable time. So I guess this gives you, you know, at a cost, of course, it's to pay during the off season sometime. But that's pretty much what the proposal is, and I'm here to help you guys. If you want me to answer questions, or
yes, I'm sure there are questions. We'll take questions from the board members. Ward.
At McCarran Park, would all of the courts be usable year-round, or would the shape of the bubble make some of the courts not usable?
The only time the bubble would be up is during the off-season. It would only during the open season, all of the courts are available. But yes, you would endome the whole thing. And like I said, this is atypical. We're usually doing it at places that have 10 or 12 courts for the economic model to be there. So this only has 6. So yeah, of course.
But all 6 could be used in the wintertime as well.
But through the concessionaire. Correct. Do we?
I guess the costs would come out during, and fees would come out through the RFP.
Correct.
But what's kind of a general range of what court time costs in other courts in Brooklyn?
Evan will talk to you about that. He's our business guy.
Citywide, it's pretty divergent. There's a big difference between locations. I'd say if you're looking at, hourly fees in the $40 to $45 range, as would be typical for Brooklyn.
Mr. Duran?
Will the city incur any cost at all in the construction of this bubble through the RFP?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Any other board members? Mayor Willie?
Are there any discounts that are provided for seniors, youth, the unemployed, and the rest?
I don't get one, hold on.
We do, in the RFP, we kind of design it to be favorable to certain types of fee structures. And certainly one of the things that we have in there is that there has to be some community time available for free for particularly youth development intents, which it would be free. And it's typically somewhere around the neighborhood of sort of 8 to 15 hours a week.
And how's that time dispersed amongst the community?
Well, I mean, that's something we'd have to work out with the community. There's no sort of particular model for that, but they do make it available, and then they would coordinate with community organizations to give that time out.
Can we request that they reach out to the youth committee at the community level to try to work that out?
We can look at trying to put something in the RFP and certainly view favorably a proposal that would have that as a component to it. Yeah.
Kathy?
Two questions. One I asked at the committee meeting, which was, would there be any favorability towards an organization which is perhaps already connected to the community and therefore would be working with the community in terms of not wanting to have such a high profit so that fees could be lower because it's not such a wealthy community. So would that be part of the award? Whatever organization would work the best with the community rather than who would pay the most?
It's always been a financial model. Is there anything different you could offer from that?
Well, the only thing I'd say is that there are a number of different criteria that are reviewed in the proposal. So fee offer is one, operating plan, of course, that includes community involvement, things like that. So there are a number of different criteria. And if that, if there was a large community component, obviously that would be viewed favorably in the proposal rating. So there's a number of different factors.
And do we as a community get to have any input as to who might be chosen because of who we think would be best for the community?
Not typically, no. The community does indeed review whether we want an RFP for this or not. If we don't have the endorsement of the community board, we won't issue an RFP. But that's pretty much the problem.
Julie?
How will this affect summer use the way it is now? And have you done any kind of survey in this community, or recommend that you do a survey to see if the prices that you're talking about, people in this community would be able to afford or would consider using it to make this work better?
It won't affect the summertime use at all. When the bubble comes down, the bubble comes down. It's open under the normal permitting system that other courts are open. And no, we've done no survey at all. The reason we're here today is because the board wants, full disclosure, which we want as well. So we want to make sure everybody has input into the process. Yes, sir.
Sorry, Mike. One thing that I forgot to mention to Marty before was that one of the components that we're adding to the RFP is the addition of lighting, outdoor lighting for the outdoor season, so that it would extend the amount of time that the courts would be available to the public.
I forgot to mention that too. Typically, a concessionaire doesn't just give us a percentage, they do capital improvements. And the lighting, that's a very good point. The lighting, so yes, it does affect the summertime use. You'll have more.